going to bring our host back up on stage for her personal story. My first Christmas in the village. Come on back up, Taylor. I can't wait to hear this one.
You're in trouble now, honey. So this is the second palate cleaner. And I have been threatening to write about my family and my early days in New York for the past 30 years, and I have been doing it, but I've never been able to figure out what form it takes. And now on the verge of turning 73, I'm like, you better get doing it. And I just want to say that I am really inspired by the young women that I've met over the course of the last afternoon. My first Christmas in the West Village. I couldn't have afforded to move there now, but you know. It was Christmas time in 1965. Sitting in Clara's Pam Pam on Sheridan Square having breakfast before one of my 5 jobs at Arthur Miller's A View from the Bridge next door. I was 19, nearing the end of my first year in Manhattan. Clara spoke to me as I paid the check. She was a stout woman. Her hair was a red wig styled in old-fashioned pin curls. She wore flower print dresses and treated her customers as though they were guests at a summer Southern tea. Her glasses were huge and thick. They had the effect of magnifying the whole upper part of her face, as though the lower portion was in the room with you, and the upper portion, upper cheeks, eyes, eyebrows, and part of the forehead appeared to be coming from another dimension. She leaned in close. Did you say you were looking for an apartment in the neighborhood? Yes. Well, one of my customers, you've probably seen him in here. He's bleached blonde, about 35. He has a place on Barrow Street, and he's getting ready to move out of town. I have his number if you want it. Yeah, that sounds great. If it worked out, it would be my 3rd apartment in a year. The first was a 6-flight walk-up on East 11th between C and D. I was robbed 4 times in 4 months. I thwarted the last attempt as I was inside when I heard the door frame crack and saw a crowbar come through and then a hand. I had no phone. I grabbed a hammer. I ordered in my deepest voice, "Go away or I'll call the police." I prayed, "Please help me think of another way." But no answer came. I smashed the hand with the hammer. I heard a horrible groan and running footsteps. I was late for my job and I had no way to repair the lock, but there was nothing left to steal. I picked up my paperback copy of Crime and Punishment and left for work. I never went back. Next, I found a sublet through a friend over Nat Hollander, bead merchant on West 36th Street. Only 1 flight up, and I had a phone. Mr. Hollander called. "Hello, Dale. How are you? I wonder, could I stop by and discuss the rent with you? I know you're having financial difficulties, and I thought we might work something out." Oi. "No, Mr. Hollander, I'm fine." He persisted. I resisted. Back at Clara's Pam Pam, I called the number and I saw the apartment at 52 Barrow Street, and that was that. A rent-controlled 1-bedroom in the West Village within walking distance of work and no robbers or lecherous landlords to contend with. I was on top of the world. I thought having a shower in the kitchen and a shared toilet in the hallway was splendid. It was Christmas in the village and all was right with the world. Whatever dimension Clara came from, she was okay by me. This kind of unexpected help was just as likely as the robberies and the lechery, and it gave me hope that I could survive. I was dating a bright young Jewish conducting student. We'd been out 6 times and he started pressing for sex in a very gentlemanly way. I had no desire to sleep with him, though I enjoyed his company immensely. We met for a date shortly after I knew about my new home. It's almost Christmas. Would you let me buy you a tree for your new apartment? Oh, Carla, I don't know. The trees down here are expensive, and that's an awful big present. And besides, you're Jewish. We laughed. Come on, let me buy you a tree. Let me think about it. I'll call you tomorrow. I did a lot of thinking that night. I called him the next day, and we made a date for the same night I was going to move into my apartment. We would go tree shopping, and he would stay over. Dear God, now I had done it. He was elated. I felt like an animal that had just carefully built a trap around my own foot. The appointed evening came and we met. We went to 6th Avenue in front of the Waverly Theater and bought a big, beautiful tree. It cost $60. $10 more than I made in a week, and $5 more than my rent. Walking through the village streets carrying the tree, we were happy and joking and full of good cheer. We wrestled the tree into the apartment and into the stand, and then, well, Carl, we have to talk. I am confused about my sexuality. I think I may be gay. Oh, you can't be gay. You're too pretty. I thought only women who were not attracted to men were gay. Well, I don't think that's true, but anyway, I think I might be. Well, would you see a therapist? I have thought about it, but it's expensive, and I don't want to think I have an illness. If you wanted to see a therapist, I would help you pay for it. That's very, very kind of you, Carl, but I don't think that would be right. We decided to give the sleeping together a try. I opened the hide-a-bed in the living room. If things didn't work out, the tree was there. He got into bed. I got into bed. I had my back to him for a minute, setting the alarm clock. I remember thinking, when I roll over, he will be there facing me. And I will have to do this. This is it. I rolled over and I gave him a little smile and we started to move toward each other to kiss. I heard the foxlock turn. Oh my God, a robber. I was not afraid. I had been saved from a fate worse than death. Saved by the bell, saved by the robber, who cared what it was? I was saved from sleeping with Carl. I jumped out of bed, wrapping the sheet around me at the same time. There in the kitchen stood the bleached blonde gentleman I rented the apartment from. He said, I thought you were moving in tomorrow night. I thought tonight. Oh, I'm so sorry. I motioned to the bed. Bob, this is Carl. At which point, Bob opened the door completely, inviting in a second unexpected guest. Come in, it's okay. There's just a little mix-up, just a little mix-up. A tall, dark, thin young man walked into the apartment. He was very embarrassed. This is Neil, Dale, and Carl. Carl had managed to wiggle into his shorts and pants. We all just stood there for a few moments. I said, I'll make some hot chocolate. Neil said, I would love that. Neil and I were immediate co-conspirators. Neil, it turned out, had been picked up by Bob in the balcony of a 42nd Street theater, and he was feeling a similar trepidation about the sexual bargain he had struck. He was greatly relieved to have this plan interrupted. The four of us sat there in the kitchen having hot chocolate. Neil and I were laughing until our worth as though our lives depended on it. The two gents sat by with steam coming out of their lips. The sun came up, and we were still sitting there. The two gents left, smiling wanly, stiff from sitting, and exhausted. They were polite, but clearly pissed. The second they were out of earshot, Neil and I burst into gales of relieved laughter. We went to breakfast at the Pam Pam, and I invited him back to the apartment. He was from Texas and just moved here. He wanted to be an actor, and he was looking for a job. Then he got into the crux of the matter. 2 weeks ago, he told his family he was afraid he was gay. They packed his suitcase and threw it on the porch. His father told him he no longer had a son, and his mother sat by and cried. They gave him a check for $200 and threw him out of the house. He was heartbroken. He loved his family and wanted to be honest with them. Now he was afraid they were right, and he really didn't deserve their love if he was this twisted deviant. The only thing he knew about being gay and how that worked was what he read in The City of Night, a book that presents gay life as something that went on in subway bathrooms in the balcony of 42nd Street theaters. So that's where he went looking. I talked to him at great length about many well-known people in all walks of life, and particularly creative artists who were gay. I asked if he thought I was twisted and sick. No, I really like you. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm gay, and I'm fighting feeling the way you feel now. I told him I would try and get him some backstage work at one of the local off-Broadway theaters, and if he wanted to, he could share my apartment. We lived together for 4 years. We were like brother and sister. So that's my Christmas story. In the dark, cold dead of a winter night, when all hope was lost, a bleached blonde Christmas star led an innocent boy to the tent of his modern-day Scheherazade.